All right. So I'm trying to do a live right now. It's the first time I've done a live in a while. I don't know how many of you are going to show up, but let's give it a shot anyways. So today I actually want to talk about is doing a PhD, doing a doctorate degree lonely, and actually how to deal with some of this loneliness that you might feel during your doctorate degree. So if you don't know me, I'm Professor Dave Massack. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship. And I created this whole Reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I wanted to pay the favor forward to help you out. All right. So many of you are starting or thinking of doing a PhD degree. If you are watching it right now, I know that there is at least one person that's watching it. Leave some comments and let me know in terms of where you are in the doctoral journey. But I really need to stress that it can be one of the loneliest things that you are ever going to do. It's going to be a very tricky, difficult process to deal with this. And there's Gloria. Hello, hello. So with the doctoral journey, it can be very, very lonely, and it can be very tough when you are doing it because you are doing something, you are an explorer, you're an adventurer, you're doing something that nobody else has done before. So it's not unlike the exploration that somebody would have done. You know, if the Europeans came to North America, they would have done, and they would have ventured off into the wilderness because they're exploring new knowledge and doing new things. Oh, there's a couple more people coming on to the live stream. And as you go into new places, you have to do things by yourself. And it can be very daunting because you feel like you're the only person. Hello, all. You're the only person that's actually doing it because you are breaking free from existing knowledge, and you have to sort of push past those barriers that you feel, all of that, all of those feelings where you're doing something that's unique and different really come up because you have to say, I'm brave enough to venture off into this new thing. And so there's really only two people that usually understand what you're going through and venturing into this new knowledge. The first person is yourself. And then the second person might be your advisor that you're actually interacting with. But your advisor doesn't quite get it because what they're going to be doing is giving you some help in terms of venturing off into this new thing. And they're going to be saying, go do this thing. And they themselves, so myself, I've done that kind of stuff before. And it is very daunting. Hello, all that are joining. Please leave some comments there. I want to see everybody leave some comments because I want to get to know you. So what I think, so coming back to my train of thought is that there's only really, two people that understand what's going on, and the advisor really doesn't kind of get it. But so you have to go and do it yourself, and you are venturing off and doing those particular things yourself. So it's really, really tough. And you often feel, hello, Zuri. I hope I'm saying it right. And as you venture off into those new things, you feel alone. And it's a natural sort of state or natural process of what you're going through. And sometimes in sort of different scientific models, it doesn't feel as alone, right? So if you're in big science, or you're like in chemistry, or you're doing physics or something like that, where they need a lot of people to do science, then those folks have more of a team structure, and they can do scientific research and more of a team compared to most science. I think a lot of sciences, like the social sciences, for example, they venture off yourself, and you have to explore these things yourself, and you have to be brave enough to do that. So, first of all, and how to actually deal with this and how I struggle myself, I'm going to be totally open. This is me struggling with it. And the reason why I'm talking about it, and if you haven't figured it out, is because these are the thoughts that come into my head on a regular basis, right? So this is really, really therapeutic for me in terms of how to deal with this and how to process this loneliness that you go through. So, so first of all, if you're really, really feeling down, at this moment, go and seek help. I'm going to say that right off the get-go, is make sure you go and seek help. If you're really feeling down at this very moment, there's hotlines and stuff. Just go Google those hotlines. But as well as, those mental health professionals, they actually really do help in terms of processing these things. But on a day-to-day basis, you do feel, this isolation, this loneliness that comes from just doing your own work, right? When you're researching and going off into different directions, you do feel loneliness on a regular basis. And so the biggest things that I have learned and how I feel better is going for those walks. I'm not sure how many of you actually go for walks. But it is very good, or some sort of exercise. That's why you see me exercising a lot. And this morning, I actually didn't do the exercise that I normally do, because on Thursdays, I don't do that, just because I like to sleep in. But then, it sort of counteracts where I actually feel not so great for not doing that, right? So that's why I'm speaking about it. And so if I would have gotten that energy to go out and to go for a walk or go for a run or whatever, I feel way, way better throughout the day. It is so important to do that. And I know many of you are going to feel like you can't do it, right? That you don't have enough time to do this, and you've got to dedicate all of your time and research, or all of your time to do research. You're going to feel that sort of pull to not, do things like going for walks or going for runs, or, getting any exercise, or brushing your teeth, or combing your hair. All of that is very, very real, because you get pulled into science, you get pulled into doing the things that you want to study, and you're like, I'm not going to do that. But it is really, really not healthy for you to get into that mindset, and you have to sort of push back and pull back from that out. And as you are sort of moving in that direction, you have to set up boundaries, real boundaries in your life, to say that I am going to do this. And so I actually don't think it's very healthy for people to work all the time on the weekends, for example. That's actually why I did that poll a few days ago, to sort of question, to get a sense of where you stand. It looks like most people work about 4 to 6 hours, which is actually probably about right? So that is maybe like a Saturday morning, or intermittently, you might do emails or something like that, because you need that time off where you can go do things yourself and pursue your interests. So for me, if you haven't noticed it, I will go for a long run at this moment. That's my thing at this moment, to do a long run on a Saturday morning. And then it takes a while to sort of recuperate. It's kind of like a walk, a long run walk. It's kind of a messy sort of procedure, but doing those things that are dedicated for yourself, and that you are sort of upkeeping yourself, is so important to not feel that loneliness. And then doing things like connecting with other people, and really sort of making that effort of connecting with other people, are so vital to dealing with this, right? So if any of you are feeling this at this moment, and I know it's kind of weird to do this, but leave some comments below, and then maybe you can meet up with some of these folks that are feeling that at this moment, and just reach out to them and say, hey, like to get to know you. So those are the things that really do help with dealing with this isolation, especially with, COVID at this moment. It's really driving people to feel not so great, and dealing with that dealing with it. It is so, it is very real. And the feelings of loneliness that you're going to go through during a PhD program is very real. And so learning how to process that, know that you are okay to take breaks, or it's okay for you to actually dedicate some time to do exercise, or to do things that are for just to have fun, right? To actually go out and do something that is, just for your own peace of mind, is very good. So that's where I want to leave this, is to know that you are, and I'm going to answer a couple of questions. So before you disappear, there is some questions and stuff. But that's where I want to leave this, is to know that you should know that it's okay to look after yourself, and it's okay to do things that are for this little ticker right here. That is so important. You have two goals, anything that you do. So, as a business professor, we kind of study this kind of stuff, right? So there's two goals that you typically do. There is your performance goal, your immediate performance goal. That's what we're always worried about. Our mind is always going and going and going and thinking, but I should perform better. I should do better. I should get into this. I should get these publications, all those kind of things. But then there's also the survival goal that we should think about. And so there's often cases, this is actually, there's lots of many cases where this happens, where people will optimize so much that their survival chances actually decrease. This is just organisms in general, that they will optimize and be very good in the short term, but then they'll decrease their survival chances in the long term. And so it's the same thing when you're in academia. To do well, you have to look after yourself so that you can stay in it and feel okay with yourself. So let's go to some of these questions right now. So Zuri, it says, I applied to many PhD programs this year in finance. Awesome. You must be a real smarty pants. And the waiting during the process is really torturous. I know, that's just part of it. So that's actually another thing that you're going to have to get used to, that I have learned. And that's part of the anxiety that you go through, is that there is a lot of waiting that happens. So you think that they're really not doing anything on the other side, and your anxieties go up, right? But they're actually doing stuff. So on the other side, what they're doing is kind of waiting to make sure that they have all of their ducks in a row, and that the procedures can actually be done. And then after, they'll have a committee meeting. And as soon as they have a committee meeting, they will actually reach out to you. And so you just have to deal with the fact that there is some waiting involved. And this is going to be throughout the process, throughout as you become an academic and whatnot. Waiting is torturous. To get a review back from a journal, for example, you might send something out, and it might take 6 months by the time you get something back, and you're constantly thinking about it. Should I be doing this? Should I be worried about this thing? So knowing that that is part of the process, you have to calm yourself down and go and just do things that are for you. And in the meantime, work on making yourself better, because you might not get into those PhD programs right now. And so working on yourself to make yourself better, like maybe read a couple of articles, or start thinking about what your research is going to be, very helpful for you. Okay, so Sandkelp, I'm sorry. Hi, by the way. How can you get over a mental block? Best thing to do is just start doing it. Just start writing every day and start getting into it. Just sit down, get your butt to the seat, and just start writing. So you can hear my doggy growling in the background. That's the best thing that you can possibly do. As Yuring said, can you please talk a little bit about if there's anything we could do to increase the chance of being admitted in the front of the wait list? I don't know. Just be patient. That's going to be the biggest thing. If you pester them too many times, it's going to be annoying, and that is going to hurt your chances. So reach out once, maybe twice, but no more than that. You're going to be annoying at that point, and that might decrease your chances. So just be patient with it. That's going to be the biggest thing. Gloria, working in absenteeism is very challenging. I think it's important to connect with doctoral student support groups to sustain motivation. I absolutely agree. That is why I'm doing, that's why I actually got into the whole Reciprocity project. Obviously, I started building this app, and then as I was interacting on YouTube and sort of getting the word out, I realized that, oh my gosh, it's not just me that deals with this stuff and process this stuff. So knowing that there's many people that are out there dealing with it, it is so important. Just knowing that it's not just you, it is very vital, because the weird thing that happens in academia, it's a lot like Wall Street, where there is this sort of machoism that happens, where you can't disclose that you're dealing with these issues, and you can't disclose that you're feeling bad, because somebody else is going to say, well, I don't feel like that, right? Like that kind of process or that feeling or that culture is really detrimental, I think, to academia. And just being open with it, I think it's going to go a long ways. So finding people that you can connect with is so important. And often it is tricky in academia because it's hard to find those people that you can connect with, right? Because you are doing things that are unique. You might be the only person that's actually doing this thing, whatever you're working on, Gloria. And so you might be the only person in this area, and you might need to reach out to somebody that is maybe you're in the United States right now, I don't know, but maybe you need to reach out to somebody that's in New Zealand. So if there's anybody that wants to reach out and chat with Gloria, make sure that you do that at, in the future, and just connect and see how she's feeling and how she's doing. I think this is going to be vital for everybody. Salcup says, I still face trouble reading through an entire paper. I take a really long time to read an article. Yep, we all do. It's hard. The methodologies most times are confusing. Do you have a process? Honestly, I just push through it and just keep going with it. And sometimes I don't understand it as much as I would like, but you have to keep pushing through it, and you have to just keep repeating it. And it is a process. And then the other thing to realize is that there's a lot of articles that you go through that you don't have to read as much as you like, in depth as you would like, where you have to understand everything. There's only a certain articles that you have to really understand everything. So kind of getting that feel, and it's hard to know which ones are the right way. What I'll do is I'll usually write to a specific author or a specific paper. And then after that, what I do is then fill in citations and stuff of sort of surrounding stuff. And then, I don't spend as much time on that kind of stuff, of going through that. So just get used to it and be okay with the fact, again, this is why I do all these videos, with being okay with the fact that you're imperfect, because you are. Right? We are not machines, and coming to terms with the fact that we're not machines, even though that, academic culture wants to sort of show that we are machines. I think that's very vital, for you to realize that you are okay being you. And even if you can't read as much as you think you could, that's okay. You just have to keep doing it, though. That's the vital thing, is to keep doing it on a regular basis. Don't give up on the fact that you that you struggle with it. I struggle with it all the time. It is really something that's daunting for me. So know that there's other people out there, and that is okay with you. Risk management. So you're in risk management. That's amazing. It is really tough. It's a tough field, but you can do it. You just got to keep going through it. So if there's any more questions, do let me know. And I'm going to give this about 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to get going because I got to get to my own research and stuff. So, all right. So with that, nobody's going to write any comments and questions. I just want to say, there's one more that came in, and I just really, message retracted. I just really want to say I appreciate all of you following along and being part of this whole Reciprocity project. It has been really a journey, and I've really changed myself, as much as you probably get, as much as you get out of this. I've really changed myself, and it's a struggle for me on a regular basis, probably just like you. It's a struggle for you. But I'm just trying to be open about it, that, to know that if there's so the way I look at it is, many of you will have these issues and you'll be thinking about it in the middle of the night. It's going to be 2 a.m. That's usually when I get those things. It's like 2 or 3 at night. And I really struggle, and I need something to watch. And then if you look at and find me on the internet, then you can watch this and you can say, oh yeah, that one kooky weirdo professor there is actually talking about that. And that's the way I sort of view it, is to let you know that you are okay. Do I have a hobby along with a PhD? So this is my hobby, right? And sort of doing talking to you. So whether you view it as a hobby or not, I don't know, but this is really important to me. And I think, yeah, actually having some sort of hobby, I think is very good and very healthy sort of way to deal with the stresses that you get. And that's actually, so Peter, hello, Peter Adam. How to handle frustrations in PhD life is to I think it's the best thing for what I've learned is to be more and more open with those frustrations and to be okay with the fact of who you are. This is a really tricky process and a really difficult thing to deal with. So being more open and acknowledging that you're imperfect, um, that's how I deal with it. And as you see, I have these frustrations all the time. And so being okay with the fact and acknowledging it, I think that's the best way to deal with this. So, Peter, great question, by the way. And it's amazing that you're doing one in the PhD in the UK. That's amazing that you're watching this. Some goofy person in Florida. I appreciate it, but I ought to get going. I just wanted to say thank you all for following along. You are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So with that, have a good one. Bye. I got to figure out how to turn this off. All right, let's see. Goodbye. It's not going. Now you can laugh at me. Goodbye.